Hey there, amazing people. I'm thrilled to have you here today. Hello, fellow enthusiasts. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of politics of Qatar. The political system of Qatar runs under an authoritarian semi-constitutional monarchy with the emir as head of state and chief executive, and the prime minister as the head of government. Under the Constitution of Qatar, the partially elected Consultative Assembly has a limited ability to reject legislation and dismiss ministers. The second general election was held in 2021. Political parties are banned and all candidates have to run as independents. The current hereditary emir of Qatar, Tamim bin Hamad al-Thani, runs the country in an autocratic manner and holds nearly all executive and legislative authority, as well as controlling the judiciary. He appoints the prime minister and cabinet. Political rights are severely limited in Qatar as per Freedom House. As we venture forward, let's take a closer look at legal system and its impact on our understanding. Sharia is a main source of Qatari legislation according to Qatar's constitution. Sharia, derived from the Arabic term meaning the path to follow, supposedly constitutes a divine revelation conveyed by God to the Prophet Muhammad, the eminent figure in the establishment of Islam, in 570 AD. Consequently, Sharia embodies a religious framework characterized by its origins and regulations. This legal system, seemingly unidirectional, emanates from God to the individual. The Islamic Sharia is regarded as the primary foundation, necessitating the formulation of legislative and judicial frameworks grounded in Islamic legal principles to govern transactions within Qatari law. Sharia is applied to laws pertaining to family law, inheritance, and several criminal acts including adultery, robbery and murder. In some cases in Sharia-based family courts, a female's testimony is worth half a man's, and in some cases a female witness is not accepted at all. Codified family law was introduced in 2006. In practice, Qatar's legal system is a mixture of civil law and Islamic law. No stonings have ever been carried out in Qatar and it has been repealed as a legal sentence. Apostasy is a crime punishable by the death penalty in Qatar. Blasphemy is punishable by up to 7 years in prison and proselytizing can be punished by up to 10 years in prison. Homosexuality is a crime punishable by the death penalty for Muslims. In 2014, Qatar launched a modesty campaign to remind tourists of the modest dress code. Female tourists are advised not to wear leggings, miniskirts, sleeveless dresses and short or tight clothing in public. Men are advised against wearing only shorts and singlets. Commercial relationships are governed by Qatar's civil code. Qatar's government has been criticized for arresting and threatening anyone who dares to speak out. In the report published by the Euromed Human Rights Monitor on 13 September 2020, it was declared that Article 19 in the International Declaration of Human Rights stipulates that everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference. Similarly, Article 47 in the Constitution of Qatar stipulates that freedom of expression is guaranteed in accordance with the conditions and circumstances set forth in law. As we embark on the next leg of our journey, let's unpack the layers of alcohol and examine its core elements. Alcohol consumption is partially legal in Qatar. Some 5-star luxury hotels are allowed to sell alcohol to their non-Muslim customers. Muslims are not allowed to consume alcohol in Qatar, and Muslims caught consuming alcohol are liable to flogging or deportation. Non-Muslim expatriates can obtain a permit to purchase alcohol for personal consumption. The Qatar Distribution Company, a subsidiary of Qatar Airways, is permitted to import alcohol and pork. It operates the one and only liquor store in the country, which also sells pork to holders of liquor licenses. Qatari officials had also indicated a willingness to allow alcohol in fan zones at the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Until recently, restaurants on the Pearl Island, a human-made island near Doha, were allowed to serve alcoholic drinks. In December 2011, however, restaurants on the Pearl were told to stop selling alcohol. No explanation was given for the ban. Speculation about the reason includes the government's desire to project a more pious image in advance of the country's first election of a royal advisory body and rumors of a financial dispute between the government and the resort's developers. Despite the economic consequences of the ban, many believe that it has been a necessary measure in order to ensure the safety and enjoyment of fans at the World Cup. Qatar's World Cup chief executive of the Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy, Nasser Al-Khater, stated that the purpose of the designated sobering up areas was to ensure the fans' safety. In this chapter, we'll be unraveling the enigma of workers and discovering its transformative power. On 16 January 2020, Qatar announced that most migrant workers who previously required an exit permit to leave Qatar would no longer require one. Cases of ill treatment of immigrant labor have been observed. The Nepalese ambassador to Qatar, Kumari Sharma, described the emirate as an open jail. Qatar does not have national occupational health standards or guidelines, and workplace injuries are the third highest cause of accidental deaths. In May 2012, Qatari officials declared their intention to allow the establishment of an independent trade union. Qatar also announced it will scrap its sponsor system for foreign labor, which requires that all foreign workers be sponsored by local employers, who in some cases hold workers' passports and can deny them permission to change jobs. In August 2022, 60 migrant workers were arrested and deported for protesting against the non-payment by their employer, Al-Bandari International Group, a major construction and hospitality firm. Some of the demonstrators were from Nepal, Bangladesh, India, Egypt and the Philippines had not been paid for 7 months. According to a report published by France 24, those protesters were detained for breaching public security laws and minority of protesters were deported by the order of court who failed to remain peaceful and breached Qatar's public security law. Qatar's Labour Ministry said it will pay al-Bandari workers and will take further action against the company which was already under investigation for failing to pay wages. Let's now shift gears and explore executive branch through a critical lens, uncovering its strengths and weaknesses. Qatar is ruled by the House of Thani as a semi-constitutional hereditary monarchy. The head of state and chief executive is the emir. There is a prime minister who serves as the head of government and a cabinet appointed by the emir. Under the constitution, the partially elected Consultative Assembly can block legislation with a simple majority vote and can dismiss ministers with the 2/3 vote. 2/3 of the members are popularly elected, and the remainder are appointed by the emir. Politically, Qatar is evolving from a traditional society into a modern welfare state. Government departments have been established to meet the requirements of social and economic progress. The Basic Law of Qatar 1970 institutionalized local customs rooted in Qatar's conservative Islamic heritage, granting the emir preeminent power. The emir's role is influenced by continuing traditions of consultation, rule by consensus, and the citizens' right to appeal personally to the emir. The emir, while directly accountable to no one, cannot violate the Sharia Islamic law and, in practice, must consider the opinions of leading notables and the religious establishment. Their position was institutionalized in the Advisory Council, an appointed body that assists the emir in formulating policy. In February 1972, the heir apparent and Prime Minister, Sheikh Khalifa bin Hamad al-Thani, deposed his cousin, Emir Ahmad, and assumed power. This move was supported by the key members of al-Thani and took place without violence or signs of political unrest. On 27 June 1995, the heir apparent, Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa al-Thani, deposed his father, Emir Khalifa, in another bloodless coup. Emir Hamad and his father reconciled in 1996. Increased freedom of the press followed, and the Qatar-based Al Jazeera television channel, founded late 1996, is widely regarded as an example of an uncensored source of news in Arab countries. However, the network has been met with negative responses by the governments of many Arab states. However, in May 2022, Al Jazeera Network won the award for the Best Human Rights Journalism of the Year in the 8th Annual Amnesty Media Awards. The network was also claimed to be non-biased network by the Washington, D.C. Media House in November 2022. On 25 June 2013, Tamim bin Hamad al-Thani became the emir of Qatar after his father Hamad bin Khalifa al-Thani handed over power in a televised speech. Office name since Emir Tamim bin Hamad al-Thani. 25 June 2013 Prime Minister Mohammed bin Abdulrahman bin Jassim al-Thani. 7 March 2023 Main office holders. Get ready for an exciting exploration as we unravel the mysteries of ministries. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry in Qatar is responsible for overseeing and directing commercial and industrial activities in line with national development goals. Its mandate includes promoting business development to attract investments, supporting exports, regulating trade professions, registering commercial and investment establishments, issuing licenses, and overseeing market regulation in its jurisdiction. The Ministry of Justice in Qatar oversees the country's judicial system, emphasizing the promotion of human rights and the rule of law. It has introduced the SAK online portal for efficient processing of e-services, prioritizing user privacy. The ministry provides a variety of services to individuals, businesses, investors, and government bodies. The Ministry of Interior in Qatar is responsible for ensuring internal security, maintaining law and order, and safeguarding national interests. It actively promotes peace, organizes police forces, and takes measures to prevent crimes. The ministry also oversees nationality-related affairs, issues travel documents, and regulates corporate immigration matters, requiring companies to hold an establishment card. Additionally, it manages the entry and residence of expatriates while regulating official documents for expatriate employees. The Ministry of Labour in Qatar is responsible for regulating employment matters, including the formulation and execution of public policies and systems for the workforce. It oversees recruitment policies, promotes Qatarization of jobs, and ensures the social and legal protection of migrant workers while enforcing the labour law. The Ministry of Finance in Qatar oversees financial affairs, promotes economic growth, and manages policies related to taxation, budgeting, and public debt. It plays a crucial role in ensuring financial stability and sustainability. The ministry is responsible for the General Tax Authority and provides the hereditary tax online portal for company registration, annual audits, and handling tax-related matters. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Qatar manages the country's foreign relations and diplomacy, providing attestation services for both local documents for international use and foreign documents within Qatar. Fusion, affiliated with the ministry, offers full attestation services and official translation between English and Arabic for foreign documents. The Ministry of Education and Higher Education in Qatar is dedicated to promoting and developing the country's education system. It oversees initiatives and policies related to school curriculums, teacher training, and educational programs. The ministry also regulates private schools, kindergartens, and nurseries, with Fusion providing an assistance in obtaining necessary approvals such as the school's education license. This includes managing curriculum approval, school premises inspection, and coordinating processes in preparation for the start of each new school year. The Ministry of Public Health (MOPH) oversees the quality of services provided by public and private health service providers in Qatar. It manages public health programs, including disease prevention, occupational health, and national immunization. The ministry is responsible for formulating and monitoring national health strategies. Healthcare practitioners must be registered and licensed by the Department of Healthcare Professions. Setting up private medical facilities requires approval from MOPH and relevant licensing, a process Fusion can assist with, including setup, licensing, and renewals. The Ministry of Municipality in Qatar is responsible for promoting and regulating sustainable development. It oversees initiatives related to urban planning, environmental conservation, and public health, playing a crucial role in ensuring a sustainable future for the country. The ministry includes bodies such as the Qatar General Authority for Standardization and Metrology and the Engineering Committee, which regulates engineering licenses for companies and individuals. Fusion can assist international engineering consultancies in setting up in Qatar by facilitating the required licensing processes. The Ministry of Environment and Climate Change in Qatar is tasked with the promotion and regulation of environmental policies and initiatives. The ministry is dedicated to fostering sustainability and mitigating carbon emissions within the country. The Ministry of Transport in Qatar oversees and regulates the transportation sector. It provides special approvals for certain transport-related commercial activities and facilitates the process of obtaining approvals for temporary road regulation, machinery transport, and the establishment of various facilities. The Ministry of Communications and Information Technology in Qatar oversees and regulates the communication and information technology sectors. It works in conjunction with the Communications Regulatory Authority to manage approvals for importing specific equipment to the Qatari market. The ministry also grants special approvals for commercial activities related to communication and information technology. The Ministry of Sports and Youth in Qatar promotes and regulates sports and youth-related activities, overseeing the Olympic movement and fostering community participation in sports. With a notable record of hosting major events, including the historic FIFA World Cup 2022, Qatar has positioned itself as a leading host for international sports events such as the Formula One Qatar Airways Qatar Grand Prix in October 2023, the 2023 AFC Asian Cup from January 12 to February 10, 2024, and the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2027. The Ministry of Culture in Qatar acts as the regulatory authority for a variety of licenses, covering areas such as advertising, public relations, artistic production, cinema theaters, educational book imports, photography, film shooting, music education, concerts, and creative events. With a primary goal of promoting cultural diversity and the arts, the ministry plays a crucial role in overseeing diverse cultural activities in Qatar. The Ministry of Social Development and Family offers services to Qatari nationals and families with the goal of promoting social welfare and development in Qatar. The Ministry of Endowments and Islamic Affairs in Qatar promotes and regulates Islamic affairs, overseeing initiatives in Islamic education, charity, and community development. It also encourages interfaith dialogue and cooperation among various religious communities in the country. Let's now shift our focus to Consultative Assembly and explore the ways in which it shapes our perspective. The Consultative Assembly Majlis Ash-Shura is a 45-member partially elected legislature made up of 30 elected representatives and 15 appointed by the emir. Majlis Ash-Shura is the process of gathering community opinions, facilitated by knowledgeable individuals who provide their perspectives and ideas on significant questions, problems, or decisions associated with the social, economic, or political aspects of people's lives. Elections were repeatedly delayed after the 2003 constitutional referendum introduced this framework. In 2006, Deputy Prime Minister Hamad bin Jassim bin Jaber al-Thani announced that elections would be held in 2007. However, only municipal elections were held. Due to voting laws, those who did not have family in the country pre-1930 were not allowed to vote. This excluded 75% of the population. The first general election was eventually held in October 2021. Get ready for an enlightening exploration as we dig into political parties and elections and understand its role in the broader context. Qatar held a constitutional referendum in 2003, which was overwhelmingly supported. The first municipal elections with men and women voters and candidates were held in 1999 Central Municipal Council. The first legislative election, for 2/3 of the Legislative Council's 45 seats, were planned for 2016 after previously being postponed in 2013. In June 2016, they were effectively postponed to at least 2019. The first general election of members of the Consultative Assembly was held in 2021. Suffrage is currently limited to municipal elections and 2/3 of the seats in the Legislative Council, with the voting age set at 18. Expatriate residents are excluded, as are the vast number of residents who are prevented from applying for citizenship. The elected municipal council has no executive powers but may offer advice to the minister. Political parties are banned by law. In 2024, Qatar held a constitutional referendum that introduced amendments to end elections for the Shura Council and our naturalized citizens to be appointed as members and government ministers by removing the requirement of original nationality. The changes were presented as measures to promote national unity and stability while maintaining the emir's authority over appointments. Get ready for a captivating exploration as we unravel the layers of administrative divisions and their profound significance. There are 8 municipalities: Baladiat of Qatar, Ad-Dawa, Al-Dayan, Al-Ka, Al-Wakra, Al-Rayan, Al-Shaniya, Al-Shamal, and Umsul. Each municipality assumes administrative responsibilities over zones, cities, and districts within their boundaries. In this section, we'll be exploring foreign relations. Qatar's core foreign policy objective according to the Middle East Journal is state survival and the desire for international prestige. Qatar became notable in international politics, and a key figure in the Arab affairs within 2 decades of its independent foreign policy. It has an open-door foreign policy where it maintained ties to all parties and regional players in the region, including with organizations such as Taliban and Hamas. Its position in the Middle East and close links with terrorist groups is seen as a great asset to Western intelligence community and diplomatic relations. Qatar has also cultivated close foreign relationships with Western powers, particularly the United States and the United Kingdom. Al Udeid Air Base hosts American and British Air Forces. On October 10, 2005, for the first time, Qatar was elected to a 2-year term on the UN Security Council for. According to BBC, in April 2006, Qatar announced that it will give £1,028 million to the new Hamas-led Palestinian government. In May 2006, Qatar pledged more than $100 million to Hurricane Katrina relief to colleges and universities in Louisiana affected by the hurricane. Some of this money was also distributed to families looking to repair damaged homes by Neighborhood Housing Services of New Orleans, Inc. There were some allegations on Qatar for supporting rebels group in Syria, and association with al-Nusra Front also persisted in country's profile for a long time. However, the Public Policy and Democracy Studies research think tank recognized the nation for its execution of current peace against conflicts, strategies, and policy upgrades. Other discoveries from the research claimed that Qatar supported the US against the Assad government. Additionally, the nation supported efforts to mediate a conflict-ending political transition in Syria. In March 2021, Qatar, Russia, and Turkey also started a different track of talks on the Syrian peace process. The government and royal family of Qatar funds the Al Jazeera television network. The Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Hamad bin Hamad, provided a loan of QAR $500 million $137 million to start the channel. The network has been accused of being biased and taking an active role in the affairs of other countries, specifically during the Arab Spring in 2011. Numerous countries have complained about allegedly biased reporting in support of Qatar policy. On 11 January 2015, The Week published a report in which Al Jazeera network was revealed to be non-biased and non-terrorist network. Most of the developed countries plus Brunei and Indonesia are exempt from visa requirements. Citizens of exempted countries can also request a joint visa that allows them to travel to Oman as well. Qatar is member of ABD, AFESD, AL, AMF, ESCWA, FAO, G77, GCC, IAO, IBID, ICAO, ICRM, IDB, IFAD, IFRCS, IHO pending member, ILO, IMF, International Maritime Organization, Inmarsat, Intelsat, Interpol, IOC, ISO correspondent, ITU, NAM, OAPC, OIC, OPCW, UN, UNCTAD, UNESCO, UNIDO, UPU, WCO, WHO, WIPO, WMO, and WTO. Qatar may suffer significant geopolitical losses if there is a global transition to renewable energy. It is ranked 152 out of 156 countries in the Index of Geopolitical Gains and Losses After Energy Transition (GIGALO). In September 2014, QFFD contributed in enhancing stability for Syrian refugees. Qatar Charity facilitated access to quality education through the rehabilitation of 6 formal schools in Turkey, Gaziantep, Urfa, Kilis, targeting a total number of 13,540 beneficiaries and 12,860 girls and boys. On July 10, 2017, according to documents obtained by Al Arabiya, Qatar agreed to quit supporting the Muslim Brotherhood. In order to avoid undermining relations with the Gulf, it also removed non-citizens from Qatar and refused to provide shelter to anyone from a GCC nation. Qatar claims that since 2017, Qatar feels it has been the victim of a media attack orchestrated by Abu Dhabi, with false documents and fake news. The Qatari government stated that they were being exclusively criticized and attacked by Belgian authorities and conveyed disappointment that the Belgian government made no effort to engage with our government to establish the facts. In January 2021, the United States, represented by the United States Department of Defense, awarded Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman bin Jassim al-Thani with the Department of Defense Medal for Distinguished Public Service, one of the highest honors bestowed by the U.S. to officials. The then U.S. National Security Advisor Robert Celsius O'Brien gave the medal to the ambassador of Qatar to the U.S. Sheikh Meshal bin Hamad al-Thani, on behalf of Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman bin Jassim al-Thani. This award was in recognition of his exemplary diplomatic efforts to strengthen relations between the State of Qatar and the United States, to support and advance peace efforts in Afghanistan, including the signing of the Sullivan peace deal on February 29, 2020, as well as the launch of the Afghan peace process on September 12, 2020, to promote stability and prosperity in the Middle East North Africa region, and to resolve the Gulf crisis through diplomacy. Qatar mediated a deal between the United States and Iran, which in September 2023 saw the release of 5 prisoners in each country and the unfreezing of $1 billion of Iranian funds, which had been frozen due to sanctions imposed by the US. The US citizens were flown to Doha and greeted by US Ambassador to Qatar Timothy Davis and Qatar Airways CEO Akbar Al-Baker before boarding a plane to Washington, District of Columbia. US President Biden thanked Sheikh Tamim and Qatari officials for their role in the mediation, as well as establishing a humanitarian channel for Iran. Those billion were released to banks in Doha under the condition that Iran could use the funds only for humanitarian purposes. Thanks for being a part of this amazing journey. I can't wait to bring you more exciting content.